Hi, everybody. Hope I'm in the right group. Let's see here. I'm gonna move the phone over that way a little bit so I can see my laptop. Just checking to see if I'm live. Yep, I am. Okay, cool. Okay. So I'm gonna put you back over here. Trying to do this on the laptop so I can read some stuff off to you guys from what I'm getting as well. Alright, so my laptop keeps going from light to dark to light to dark. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Becca. Alright, guys. I'm going to get on here and I'm going to start now because, granted, I don't know when my grandfather's going to get up, but I'm going to need to change out his catheter line. Or not change out his catheter line, somehow. Change out his leg bag to the bed bag. But I think I still have time. So, there are a lot of things going on. I was prompted to come on here and explain what's going on and what I'm getting. There are a lot of different things that I'm getting that I wasn't aware of that are now coming to light as well. A lot of my friends, there's like clumps. It comes in clumps. It's really weird. This all kind of started right after my grandmother passed. My grandmother passed on February 22nd. 2/22/2020. Very interesting day that she would pass too, number-wise. I found that odd. She was going downhill for a while, but it was better off, because her living through this right now, I think there was a bigger plan, and she knew more about it. And the fact that I constantly buy doubles of everything, so that was like, we're fine with TP around here. I live in New York, so we're basically going into a shutdown because of this whole coronavirus thing. So it's just kind of, it's getting serious in places, and it kind of scared me yesterday when I was actually at work. I work at a paint store in my little town here in East Aurora, New York, by Buffalo, a suburb of Buffalo, and I went in there because on Monday when I went, we were fine doing what we normally do. And then when I went on Friday, because they cut my hours for Wednesday, so they cut my hours into not working Wednesdays. And I went on Friday and I had to wear gloves. I had to do like no more than 10 people in the building. Nobody could touch the paint swatches or the books for the wallpaper. And we had to have, like, a distance between people, and we always had to no masks, necessarily, but, and then all of a sudden my boss and the assistant manager had a meeting, a spontaneous meeting from the corporate, and then all of a sudden they came out of the meeting, and they went and they didn't lock the door, but they basically closed the door, put up all these signs, put up tape across the door, and barricaded it, kind of, yeah. I'll get to that in a minute, Becca, because if you guys are following also the posts in Italy, the dolphins and all the animals and all the waterways are clearing up. Less human activity, less pollution. Mother Nature's revamping herself. So that's really cool too. But basically, it freaked me out to the point where I'm like, oh my god, we can't talk to people, we can't do this, and I, as an empath, feed on energy. So, like, I was shaking. I was getting so upset because I'm like, this shit's getting real. And I'm like, okay, I can't get upset. This is just precautionary, people. This is corporate. It's not us, whatever. And then I found in the paper today that there was apparently a case where somebody who was positive for it was in the CVS here in town. And I'm like, ooh, that's odd too, because I always go to CVS, and because of Mom's passing, I haven't been able to use... we were using the card to supplement going grocery shopping for my grandfather, and we always stopped at CVS. I always did it with my own stuff when I picked up his medicine and stuff. I haven't been to CVS since she passed in February. I stopped there maybe once through the drive-thru to pick up medicine, and that was before all this stuff started. So I think that's also the universe saying, okay, we're preparing. There are all these synchronicities that are happening. And then now looking back at it, I'm like, that's very odd. So, okay, so here's another thing, and I was going to write down a whole big list of points, but I'm like, I'm just going to shoot from the hip today, because it's coming through, and I just need to speak it out. Okay, so if you want to go with the conspiracy theory and things like that, there is stuff going around, and actually subconsciously, apparently I was sharing about it also, but the dumbed down version, because the one girl I share in here, forgot her thing, about all the different things happening and all the big head honchos in Hollywood stepping down and stuff, that's part of this theory. And I'm going to read you a thing, in a minute about the fact that there's this theory going around that the coronavirus is actually a cover-up for all the evil and the negative paradigms that are falling that have run this country for millennium, and all the other, well, it also kind of goes into the fact that there were, I guess the theory goes that there was negative entities from not this planet, starseed people, not starseeds, but like other races that had come to colonize us, and that's what we were living under, the false pretenses of what our reality was. And now the Galactic Federation and everything else, there's the battle, and there's all this stuff, and this group called Q, or this person, or whoever it is, has been leaking these information to certain people who are listening, about this monumental episode. So I'm going to read you what's going on, from somebody else who posted about this other stuff. Now, take with it what you will and leave the rest. That's what I always say. I always follow Sylvia Browne, and I always said the same thing. She actually also posted in her book, End of Days, about a virus, which, actually, I'm going to get right now. And this one's also been going around. I posted it also, but somebody thinks it's Dean Koontz, and Dean Koontz had a different thing, but this specific passage in here is from Sylvia Browne's End of Days, and this was written in 2008. So I'm going to say this first. It goes, I'm reading, backwards on the computer. I'm reading this package right here, okay? See how it says in 2020, pneumonia-like illness? Okay, I'm going to read that. And around 2020, a severe pneumonia-like illness will spread throughout the globe, attacking the lungs and the bronchial tubes. Sorry, allergies are kicking in. We went from 60-degree weather yesterday to now 25 in New York, so hopefully that'll help. But I don't know. It might exasperate it too, with the whatever's going on. Bronchial tubes and resisting all known treatments. Almost more baffling than the illness itself will be the fact that it will suddenly vanish as quickly as it arrived, attack again 10 years later, and then disappear completely. So that was what I started seeing pop up. And actually, I've had this book. This is from my library here in town. And there's a big whole story about this too. But I got it from my town library. Sorry, I ate a thing. All right, and if you can see that shelf right there, that's all Sylvia Browne stuff. I am an avid follower of her work and her ideas and stuff, because I've actually seen the other side. I've actually been over there on occasion in my dreams. But anyway, I digress. Their appearance. Another species put a stop to that. Yeah, there's definitely a galactic war going on, hardcore. I mean, you can see a lot of people, you don't see it now because of this coronavirus thing, too. If you've noticed, a lot of people were mentioning about clouds, cloud formations, different things they were seeing in the skies, and different things they were hearing. And there are, the Galactic Federation is here. Like, literally on foot, on ground. Using cloaking devices and things like that. Nothing to be scared of with our galactic group. The Andromedans, the Palladians, the Syrians, it goes on. There's I think a group of 7. I'm not 100% into it. I follow Phil Good on YouTube. Phil Good is really good. He actually just got contacted in his sleep-ish dream about it. And then I've got a lot of backstory about my own thing. If you've ever followed Corey Good, with his whole idea about the, I forgot what the program is, where you're a child and then they make you into an adult so you can go out and help them, and then they regress you back into the child form, and then they wipe your memory. Because I don't have any memories of my childhood from 3 to 6 from ages 3 to 6. There are like maybe 5 memories, and then the rest is black. And no, all my therapy said, oh, it's because you had trauma and you were abused as a kid and da-da-da. And, you know, and the fear of me driving. I asked my older brother, I said, why do I have a fear of driving? And he said, I don't know. I said, were we ever in a car accident? I'm trying to make logical sense of this. And he goes, no, not as far as I know. And he's 3 years older than me, so he would remember. It's weird. But now, anyways, all this stuff is becoming ahead. And a lot of what you're seeing, like there was talk about Tom Hanks. There was talk about, you know, Mel Gibson, I think, was the one that outed, no, someone, I don't know who, some star outed this group that was supposedly controlled by the Illuminati. Now, that's another part of one of her books that she talks about. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, actually, side note, as a past life, it was probably because I was a race car driver, and I died in a crash on, like, one of those laps or something. Because when I was watching it with my ex, my now ex, that's another thing that happened. Every time they'd take that corner, it was being... And the fact that when I bought my car now, I can actually, the ignition's in the middle instead of on the wheel. And I was taught with the wheel one being in a van. And this one is a Buick LaCrosse. So it's, the ignition thing is in the middle. And the lady that was showing me the car, she's a good friend of our family. And she goes, I started driving and I started stick shifting almost. And I've never known how to do a stick shift car. Never. I mean, I didn't even want to get my license when I was 26 or anything. And my grandma made me. And I'm doing it like this, and then driving like this, and I drive with my left, which I think is odd too, because I'm right-handed. And she said, dude, and I'm going up this hill, because it's in Derby, and it's really, there's a serious incline, so you need the V6 instead of V4, because that was what my car had before. And she's like, you really know how to control this car. Have you been in this car before? I said, no. She goes, have you ever driven like this before? I'm like, I don't know, it's an automatic. And I was holding on to my seatbelt, like, with my hand, you know, on my waist here, and just kind of like driving like this, and I don't know why I do that either. It has to do with, I'm pretty sure, a past life thing. But anyways, I digress. So if you're lonely or trying to figure out things and you have nothing better to do at home, this is a good time to go back and figure out connections with fears, past life issues, likes, dislikes, things that resonate with you, things that don't resonate with you. Time to be self-centering, figure out actually who you are and who you want to be. Because that's another thing going forward. The way this is, it's going to change how we think about everything. The paradigms, the way we think about it, all the programs, all that is going to change completely. My town is breaking down. All my businesses breaking down. The restaurant that we had, she's putting it up for sale. The one that was an Icon Freeze Store, Iron Kettle. She's putting it up for sale. She doesn't know exactly what's going on per se, but you're going to see a lot of that kind of paradigm, the financial institutions, things like that, starting to crash. But as I get into this, let me read this real quick, and then I'll get back to the other stuff. So this is from the Q drops and the theory between the fact that QAnon, I guess is what it is. I don't know what it stands for or whatever, but it's about the Cabal and the old teachings about the New Earth. And I just kind of fell into this whole thing. So, it said the CEO of Disney is stepping down. The CEO of Tinder, Hinge, OkCupid, Match, all stepping down. CEO of Hulu stepping down. CEO of Mad Men stepping down. Or Mad Men. CEO of L brands like Victoria's Secret, Bath & Body Works stepping down. CEO of Salesforce is stepping down. CEO of Harley Davidson stepping down. CEO of IBM stepping down. CEO of T-Mobile stepping down. CEO of LinkedIn stepping down. CEO of MasterCard is stepping down. Bill Gates, now this one I knew was a fact because I actually just saw this one. Bill Gates steps down from the board of Microsoft. Then it goes on, what if I told you? The morning of 4:20 a.m., Canadian Prime Minister, this was last Sunday, this was posted on the 18th of this month, March 18th. What if I told you that this morning at 4:30 a.m., Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was served a criminal indictment by the United States for corporate and financial crimes. Media owners were instructed to brainwash everyone that Trudeau and his wife have the coronavirus and that they would be leaving their home for a while. Tom Hanks was arrested 48 hours ago for pedophilia, and he is currently being kept in a hotel room in Australia, refusing to fly back to the USA. The next celebrity arrests will be Celine Dion, Madonna, Charles Barkley, and Kevin Spacey, all whom claim coronavirus infections. Italy's airports have been completely shut down as over 80 Vatican and financial officials have been served the same criminal indictments for financial crime, pedophilia, child trafficking, and sex abuse. United Emirates or whatever it is, have completed mass arrests on their own royal family and affiliates. Convicted Hollywood rapist Harvey Weinstein agreed to a deal in exchange for his testimony against hundreds of top Hollywood celebrities and their involvement in the drug business, pedophilia, and child trafficking. Instead of having a 55-year sentence, he only received a 23-year sentence. In exchange, he provided testimonies against some of the biggest and most powerful names, including Prince Andrew of the UK, former President Bill Clinton, former Vice President Joe Biden, Tom Hanks, Oprah, Ellen DeGeneres, Quentin Tarantino, Charlie Sheen, Bob Saget, Kevin Spacey, John Travolta, Steven Spielberg, Podesta, NXIVM, and Pizzagate, sex trafficking clubs, and hundreds more who were directly involved with Jeffrey Epstein's pedophiles. Jeffrey Epstein was similarly allowed to make a deal and have his suicide in prison faked in exchange for his testimony. I've heard this too. CEOs of some major world corporations have been indicted, arrested, and some have been forced to resign, all in the last 30 to 60 days. So that means it's going to go for the next month. Such as CEO of the NBA, Harley Davidson, the Bill Gates Foundation, Intel, McDonald's, Caesar Awards, and Disney, the Vatican Chief of Police, etc. Approximately 700 to 800 more resignations are coming in the next 3 months. The lab-created coronavirus was a cover-up for the mass mandatory vaccination agenda. Now it has become the biggest covert U.S. intelligence operation that the world has ever seen. This mass 158,000 arrest operation will remove and capture the biggest evil and corrupted politicians, celebrities, and CEOs, including global elites and bankers such as George Soros, UN officials, and the founders of Greta Incorporated. Okay, now, and then it goes into predictions. Now, this, you can take with it what you want and what you don't want. Like I said, with all this, if it resonates with you, that's good. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. Just put it on the back burner. That's what I always say with everything. Certain things I'm still kind of like confused about, and certain things I'm kind of like, well, that kind of makes sense. At first I was kind of angry, but I'm like, I need to move past my anger and see if there's truth underlying here because of all the paradigms that were programmed into us, okay? So I'm still kind of on the fence with some of this stuff because I don't really like Trump, okay? So I'm not 100% with this whole entire, hey, Rubio, thing, and I still think, this is my opinion, I still think Trump is a pawn for what's going on, okay? And, okay, I don't want to get into this weird and start freaking people out, but the word Antichrist came into my mind in the last 3 days, last 24 hours, about this whole Trump 2020 thing, okay? There was something, and I don't have it now, I might do another post later, about the presidential election in the 2000s. I don't know if it was 2020. It might have been in her book Prophecy, I'm not sure. About one of the presidents getting assassinated, and one of the presidents getting dying of a heart attack, and then the vice president who becomes president ends up getting assassinated. And I thought that was interesting because it hasn't happened yet. Hopefully it won't. I don't know. But if this tension with what's going on with the virus gets any worse, it might, depending on who gets elected, come soon or something. I don't know. But anyways, that's another theory. Okay, that's my own theory. I don't know. Like I said, nothing is confirmed or denied because the future is always fluid. What we make choices with now can also change. What's going on now, if we make a change, we can divert the timeline. All timelines are happening simultaneously right now. So, depending on how we change... Oh, I didn't know that one. Sylvia said he would die in office if Trump gets the second term. Maybe that's a heart attack? I don't know. Like I said, I haven't really researched her books because I've had to be out in the quote-unquote real adult world making money for a while now. So, when I was younger and before all the stress here at the house and all this other stuff with my grandmother, who I definitely believe had a negative entity attached to her. And side note, I just had lunch last Sunday with my brother, my younger brother, and it sounded like he was kind of, he started going like he had split personality, and he says that he's got this demon Lou that's inside him when he gets angry, which I think it's just he's stressed out because there's a lot of stress in his thing, but he might also be connected and have some lower energy attached to him as well. With the people he's living with, I wouldn't be surprised. But unfortunately, there's no getting through to him. So unfortunately, he has decided to distance himself from me, my father, and my older brother, and our family. So I just pray for him all the time. This is what we gotta do for the people that don't understand and that are on their own path. We just gotta pray for them and send them love and light. I told my grandma up in heaven now, I go, Mom, can you get through to him, please? I'm like, wee! He's an empath too, and I know he is, and he doesn't know how to deal with the energy that's flowing in right now. And I think a lot of us don't understand the energy that's flowing in. I'm having a lot of energy coming in. I'm hearing ringing in my ears. I'm back to seeing images on the computer vibrate off the page, which is interesting. I'm hearing like subtle voices. Now I can't tell if the voices, it's like if they're like off in a distance, like people across the street are talking, which could be now because people are walking around. But before all this started happening, it's more like, I'm thinking maybe it's my spirit guides or something, or even my grandmother, like, is trying to get my attention, possibly, or something. But anyway, I'm going to continue with the post here, about this. And you can take this with you, what you want or what you don't. Like I said, I don't believe, for me, what Trump's doing, there are some good things and some bad things. For me, it's just certain things I have a feeling he's being played also by whoever's giving him the information and telling him what to do. He's trying to be the martyr, and all this stuff, but I think there's also an underlying thing that these people who are devoted to him don't fully see yet, because it's also still kind of, but I could be completely wrong. I don't know. That's just a feeling I'm getting. But anyway, so here's what Q, was predicting for this. So it goes, President Trump will win the 2020 elections. The arrests of former U.S. presidents will occur in early 2021. All major arrests will be portrayed by the media as arrested or on accidental or as conspiracy theories. All arrested individuals will be given Rommel death, meaning that they will have a choice between their death being portrayed to the public as a suicide or an accidental death, in return for assurances that his or her reputation will remain intact. Or, alternatively, they can choose to face a criminal trial that would result in public disgrace. Some top religions and religious leaders will be arrested or forced to resign, and some will suddenly get quote-unquote sick. The Vatican will be the first, and the Pope will be removed in 2020. Production of human-extracted adrenochrome will be revealed, and Hollywood and the Vatican will be exposed as being directly responsible for that. Now, this adrenochrome, I've also found another post, which is interesting, because here's the other connection, where whatever this adrenochrome is, it's some chemical that's kind of like, from what I've heard, it's kind of like a adrenaline rush, but it's part of a human genome, something in the genome that these Hollywood elites are feeding off of, kind of like, I don't know how they're getting it. I don't know if they're getting it. I haven't done enough research. I don't know if they're getting it through the blood. That's the whole big thing about the blood sacrifices, the Illuminati, the whole dark sacrifice and sex trafficking and sacrificing babies and all that stuff. If you want to go deep, deep, deep down the rabbit hole, I'm not going to go that deep because a lot of it's actually kind of terrifying if you really, really feed into it. But like I said, you can get the information and then just process it. Don't feed fear into it because that just will make it worse. Just get the information and be like, oh, that's interesting. I don't like that. I wonder if not cool. And then I saw somebody post the way the chemical composition of this adrenochrome is. And it's like it's got like an arrow here, and like the things are here, and this is whatever the atom is. And then there's another couple atoms here, and they're like this, and they go around like that. And then the bottom part goes like out like this, and then it's got like legs over here and two arms. and it literally looks like a freaking rabbit, guys. Like a stick figure rabbit. And somebody else, and I'm thinking, a rabbit? That's weird. And somebody else said, follow the white rabbit. And all of a sudden, Matrix clicked. I've always been a follower of the Matrix. Always have been, always will be. I knew there were subconscious messages in that. And then when I saw this, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's weird, and follow the white rabbit. Basically, don't do a whole lot of conforming, or if you are, be the one that's going to be like, kind of like when the pagans went undercover type of a thing. I mean, just stay there, keep that stuff, pretend to be this other thing, and then when the time is right, be, So that was interesting that I just found that 2 days ago that it was posted. And the fact that when I went to also Google something, Google has now been unlocked. Unlocked, guys. Like, legit. I searched essential oils because usually all the essential oils stuff was cryptid. They didn't want you knowing anything about the fact that it was good for you or any of this stuff. And now you can research it, and PubMed and some other medical articles are up there saying and claiming certain conditions are doing really good with certain kinds of essential oils. I mean, like, before they lock it down again, and hopefully they won't, because it was supposed to be known for a free service. But with the elite paying off for only certain things to pop up on the top, now they're not. Everybody else is stepping down because they're too busy to pay that because there's no money coming in because they're blocking stuff now. And a lot of people say that what's going on now with this cover-up thing is part of it. But that's another really interesting thing. Okay, so that's another part of this whole entire thing. And now these are all these pieces, these what they call these drops. I call them breadcrumbs that I'm following and I'm picking up and going, interesting. All right, so carrying on. Coming up, there will be a 2-month complete shutdown of the world's most common operations, such as, now this is where it gets real, guys, because this is kind of interesting. Schools, the stock exchange, some banks, airports, shipping, travel, events, galas, expos, sporting games, sports championships, music award ceremonies, NBA, NHL, baseball games, and ship cruises. That ring a bell, anybody? Interesting. There will be food shortages and staged electricity power outages. Now, this will be interesting to see if this starts manifesting with that one. Gas prices will go down. We're already seeing this. Food costs will go up. Well, of course, because if everybody's taking food, then they're going to max out on that. I mean, we've already seen it all throughout Amazon when they're freaking price gouging everything because people are like, oh, I can make money off of this. Well, those people, the karma will come back to them too. Insurance will go up, gold and silver stocks will fall, and many corporations will either go bankrupt or take a significant financial loss, such as in the case of what's about to happen to Air Canada, Disney, and Coca-Cola. Now, I was kind of devastated with Coca-Cola because I love my Coca-Cola. But then again, it is a multi-million, billion, trillion-dollar company. And when I heard originally they actually put Coke, like the drug Coke, in their drinks to make people addicted to them way back when, like in the 60s or something like that, 56, I don't remember when, but they did it. So I'm like, well, if they did it back then of course, they're not innocent like they all pretend they are. But I do like my Coca-Cola. Cute little bears. And they make everything like cute little bears. And I'm like, oh, I've been deceived. Yeah, Disney. I mean, I've known for a while that Disney has had subliminal messages in their stuff, their movies and things for a very long time. And actually the theory goes that Disney, Walt himself, knew about the future to the point where he put himself in a cryogenic chamber to freeze his body and his brain so that he can have it put back into a different body or his own body, depending on if they can keep it that long, in a future, and somehow in the future bring him back. So if he's thinking like that, and that was like back in the 40s, I mean, that's some hardcore science info that he knew about or thought about or found out or figured out way back when. That's crazy crap. Like, that's people like, oh my god, that's sci-fi shit. And I'm like, not so much now, maybe. I mean, we got Tesla cars that are all electric powered and things like that. I mean, this is also part of the whole technology from the Galactics also. And certain galactics that were here, Yes, that was the other thing I saw on Facebook too. Tangled takes place in their town. Like, okay, so the thing was, it was posted that Tangled, she was secluded, she was brainwashed by the grandmother, she didn't know the truth, and da-da-da-da, and and then she, you know, this guy comes along, and he's like, no, this is real, and then she took the jump to be able to be like, you know what, I'm not going to stay here, and, you know, I'm going to try to seek something else, I'm gonna do this for myself, and find my own truth. Her kingdom is known as Corona, which I was like, I didn't even know about that, because I know the little things Pascal, of the iguana guy. But yeah, that's interesting too. Like, yeah, a lot of the things in Disney, yeah. There was, I mean, there's numerous ones. And actually, if you go and you think about also, we could go into the whole idea also about the fact that, the Mandala Effect. I also follow, Diane Canfield. And she talks about the Mandala Effect. And I've known for a fact that there's a movie that I know of that people are like, no, that never existed. And it's Shazam with not Shaq, because Shaq's in the alternate one. Sinbad. Shazam with Sinbad in it, okay? And everybody's like, that never existed. I saw it as a kid. My younger brother and I saw it. We saw it. You know, I remember it. I know the movie. They said that now, in this dimension... Sorry. In this dimension, it's actually Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal. And I'm like, well, yeah, that exists too. There's also Bernstein Bears versus Bernstein or Brenstein. It's some kind of, it's slightly altered. Like, instead of an E, there's an I or something. Statue of Liberty. Is it on Liberty Island, or is it on the other one? And I forgot what the other one is. But I mean, all these little things, and I'm like, I took the quiz, and I'm like, no, it's this, and it's this. And they're like, no, it's not. In this dimension, it's this. And I'm like, so apparently that means that somehow I jumped timelines. And I'm still trying to figure that out too, which makes sense, because if I can't, like, kind of understand certain things, and I'll have memories and dreams, and I've always remembered my dreams and my memories. And people are like, oh, Jen, it's just crazy, Jen, just ignore her, whatever. You know, and I'm like, I'm just me. I mean, you can take it whatever you want. You can leave it. I don't care. You can consider me crazy, loopy, whatever. I'm still working in the sane world. I'm still doing my stuff. I must not be that insane if I'm still functioning day to day, right? My hair's all... But, yeah, the Viking Guy. Now, that's an interesting post, too, because, this necklace that I've always had, since I got it, they always considered to be Viking. I mean, I think it looks Viking. It does. I mean, apparently the stone is some super awesome stone. Now, when I first got it, I was activated by it, for sure, back in 2017. And then I had to give it back and all that stuff, and I finally got it back this summer, because the lady knew I wanted it, because I used to go in and visit it and say hi to it, and I'm like, hi, you're gonna come home with me eventually, and the universe did help. But yeah, and it's funny that you say that too, Becca, because I had said to the aide that was here before I got all freaked out when I was at my work, that basically I'm like, oh, we're gonna go back to sacrificing goats for, like, the gods are angry. I go, the gods are angry, let's go sacrifice a goat. And I didn't really mean it that way. I meant it like as a joke, kind of, but it did have a surreal tone to it. You know, I would not ask anybody to go and sacrifice a goat and start doing that stuff. I mean, that's also what... That also plays into the fear paradigm, too. So people don't exactly know what to do right now. But it goes, and also to finish, it goes, welcome to the Great Awakening. What's about to happen this summer and fall will change the world's history. So yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now, and it's freaking people out, but don't be afraid. And I had to battle myself all day yesterday and all day pretty much this morning and the day before, because I'm like, well, if we get locked down, I don't have finances and all this stuff, and I'm thinking, you know what? This paradigm might actually just shut down the economy and the financial thing completely. I mean, you know how, like, they used to be like, oh, the Bitcoin is the newest thing. That just might, I mean, not Bitcoin itself, because that's just somebody with a agenda on the back end of it. You also have to watch out for people with agendas on the back end of it. If they're doing it for, you'll find a lot of that. In places with this, people get freaked out and they don't know what to do. And instead of being positive and uplifting and trying to be smart about different ways to go around and fix problems and challenges, they'll try to one-up everybody else. And if we do... Excuse me, I'm getting all upset now because I'm all... if we do go into a lockdown, which is where it's looking like it's gonna go, I'm in New York State. New York State is one of the hardest hit ones, apparently, according to this whole thing. But also, New York State is also where the banks are. New York State is also where a lot of the, like, from Hollywood, they'd come over to New York City. You got Broadway, you got all that kind of stuff. You got a lot of people up here that have second homes. There's a lot of small things. If I were you, I would definitely get on Google now that it's open and it's not on lockdown, and start Googling the shit out of stuff. See if you can find stuff. You know, and you'll get some weird, crazy ones, and you'll get some, like, other ones. It's like, it's anytime you do any kind of research, you gotta look through everything and make an informed decision on all of it. And you gotta feel with what resonates with you. You know, like, if you're, like, get scared and upset, then that's not good for you. That's not resonating. That's just fear tactics. And that's what I had to learn about money, because that's why I'm freaking out, because I'm afraid. Wow. I'm getting a lot of that, too. Like, ringing. Like telephone call. Like, and my phone's right here, so there's no way it could be, like, I sounded like it was ringing downstairs, and I've been hearing a lot of footsteps and stuff, like people's here. So I'm thinking it's either one of three things. My grandmother, still here, my spirit guide's trying to get me attention, or actually the Galactic Federation trying to contact me. Because I have been contacted. I have been on the ships in my dream state. I mean, I've gotten written down in my dream journal. I used to follow Stargate SG-1 like nobody's business, if you guys know anything about that. And I always believed it was true, because I always viewed myself as Daniel Jackson from the show, who was the archaeologist researcher, and I'm always into stuff. And I always have these dreams where I'm digging into the ground, and I'm finding crystals and things. And where I was in the dream, the one time, it wasn't a scary ship. It was a good ship. But it was all metal. It was metal, but it was weird. But it was warm. It wasn't like how you think metal was really cold and stuff. Like, I could go on and on and on and on. I shouldn't write a book. But, like, all these different things. And I was actually just went to a psychic fair 2 Saturdays ago. And they told me that I definitely have gifts. And that I have to not be afraid of them anymore. And I have to start sharing them, regardless of how people are going to look at me. Which is another thing, another paradigm. And which is interesting, because now with everything shutting down, the only things that are operating are online businesses or home businesses. So my essential oil business is the only thing basically almost keeping me afloat, besides having to go there. But like I said, it's changing people. Like, you've noticed that there are no runs on any of the healthy food in the markets lately. Like, and that's another thing, guys. If you're finding that you're craving fruits and vegetables, for the last 3 days, I've been craving fruits and vegetables. Luckily, my aide that comes here, who's a friendly friend, she's been actually buying cantaloupe and all these other good things and stuff. And actually, we've been eating good, thank God. But it's just very surreal. And I've stopped most of the gluten. Well, I can't do a lot of the gluten anyway, but with limited food, which is... See, this is also where you gotta kind of be like, ugh. If they shut down everything, you can't get your fruits and vegetables. So if you can still get out and get your fruits and vegetables, definitely get your fruits and vegetables. Stock up on those if you can eat them or whatever, and freeze the fruits if you can, so you can have, like, smoothies or, you know, things like that. Because that's what they're going to want you to do. They're going to want you to dumb yourself down. They're going to want you to have your main water, which has got fluoride in it, which apparently I ran out of my other water because there's a run on water now. So I have to have the water from the faucet, which I've been off of for over 1.5 years now. And it opens up your pineal gland because it's not calcified anymore. So I'm kind of watching that. But at the same time, they want you to stay home. They want you to eat all the not healthy foods so that your body starts getting dumbed down again and stuff. With this, people are going to have to get out. People are going to have to start gardening more. By gardening, your hands are getting into earth, Mother Earth. You're getting the energy from the core of the earth, okay? The soil has good things in it. You're getting out in the sun, if you got sun, depending on where you are in the atmosphere. Right now we're going here in the northern hemisphere, we're getting into spring. Southern hemisphere is getting into fall and winter. But the sun and its sun codes, I mean, we all know that, that's the other thing. Jamie decided to, like, not be on Facebook or anything anymore. She, like, fell off the place of there. So she's still doing her readings, I'm thinking, over in Nortowns, but I don't know if she's going to be able to do that now anymore. But, there's a lot of interesting things going on. I know Susie Starr, who's I'm friends with, who was in this group, I don't know if she still is, she's been posting a lot about Q drops and things like that, too. And a lot of people are waking up. A lot of people are understanding things. We are starting to become, we're slowing down. And the really weird thing is, when I went to counseling last month, I was on my way to Derby, which is like an hour away from where I am here. And I'm thinking, because I was getting freaked out because there's too many cars on the road and da-da-da-da. And I said to myself, kind of, when I say it to myself, it's almost like I'm saying it to the universe as well. I said, we need to seriously be able to somehow slow down. Like, reset. We need a serious reset. Hey, Michelle. And sure enough, we're having a reset right now. A hardcore reset. Because everybody's like, hello, nobody's paying attention to me, Mother Nature says. And in the universe, it's all like, all right, okay, I gave you so many opportunities, and now I'm going to be like, bam, you're in timeout. Until this all gets sealed and ready. Okay, yeah, the 11s and 12 waivers. Okay. Yeah, I know, and Phil also talks on his posts about walk-ins and stuff like that, because he said that he's a walk-in after he got ascended, or activated. I had a Klondike Activation. I was trying to figure out the date, and it was a couple years ago. I think it was back in 2006 I figured it out. 2006 was also the same year my uncle died. And it was also the year I was in Ireland for 2 months, and there was a fog that came over, but it wasn't a normal fog. It was this fog that was on the top of the water, but instead of rising up, it like sunk. And all the Irish people, of course, they're like very spiritual and all into, you know, stuff, and they can actually see through dimensions and the lower realm for the fairies. And so the one girl that was driving, she's like, oh my god, what is that? And she's like, it's 666 day. Because it was June 6th, 2006. And she goes, it's the day of the devil, and da-da-da-da. Now, that's also fear-mongering. It's not necessarily the day of the devil, because 6 is not necessarily negative. That's another paradigm for the people who are trying to control. 6 is actually a very powerful number in numerology. And if you put the 6 and the other 6 on top of it, it becomes the yin-yang sign. Okay? So it's like a 9 and a 6 inverted. And you put them on top of each other. You know, and it also can become the Klondike. If you go like this and you go, like, it's the Klondike going up your spine. It's just basically an energy center. It's about energy and the growth and being able to activate your own energy, basically. So all this, Friday the 13th also was another thing. Friday the 13th is not. If you go numerology, 3 and 1 equals 4. 4 is a very good number in numerology as well. The 13th is just when basically Christianity decided to go kill all the pagans, because they were being controlled by this other paradigm, which is now breaking down now, hence the Catholic Church and all that stuff coming to light, because it was this other galactic force that was trying to supersede us and make us into slaves. So there's actually a lot. And sorry, I'm like all over the board. It's just all... There's so many facets to everything, okay? And I've been kind of quiet for a while because there's so much stuff going on, and I'm still trying to be able to maintain normalcy in this stuff, and my family and my aunt and my older brother also are still in the other paradigms, so it's kind of hard trying to deal with that. And when I had this as a public group before, and people are like, well, my family doesn't understand. I totally get you guys, because mine doesn't either. Actually, I was in the car the one time, and we were driving, and I talk to Archangel Michael all the time. And I use him he's a protection angel, and I said, okay, anytime I get into a thing with traffic, I ask him to open up a path so I can turn left or whatever, and I don't get hit, and he saved me from a lot of accidents, which is awesome. And so I said that one time we were waiting and waiting, trying to turn left on a busy street with no light or anything. And I said, Archangel Michael, can you please, whatever, open this up or whatever. And then, sure enough, within 30 seconds, an opening came. And then I'm like, thank you, Michael. And my older brother looked at me and he's like, oh, come on now. You just have to wait for an opening. It's just an opening. And I said, well, yeah, maybe if you want to think of it more simple and linear, if that works for you. But I know there are energies beyond it. And it's just, he just can't see that because he's been trained all his life since he was 18 when he moved out here to be like, take every day one step at a time. And you can't control the future and you can't predict the future. Hey, Julie. But a lot of it has to do with the fact that, hey, Ray, we are being forced, basically, to change our thought patterns. To be able to know that we are self-reliant. We can rely on ourselves for stuff. This world was meant for us to help each other out. It wasn't meant for us to be self-centered and, that way. And that's what these other races or, elite people want us to believe. And that's what's been driving this whole entire paradigm for eons. And now that's being revealed and people are going to get shocked. People are going to get sick to their stomach with what's coming out, with all the stuff about the human trafficking, the child trafficking, the child sex stuff, the fact that there's bloodletting. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming out about this old cabal, Illuminati / Satan worship, all this stuff that was put in the dark that's now being come out. There's also talk about Oprah and some kind of a tunnel under her house she was hiding kids in, and now it's being sealed up and stuff like that. That, I believe, the tunnel has also something to do with the, I think, for some odd reason, right now, okay, just take this with what you want. Don't worry about it if you don't believe it. What I just got right now is that Oprah had the tunnel in her house because it was an underground railroad tunnel, and because she's African American, she decided she wanted that because she was saying that it was about her heritage and things like that and playing it off that way when it really wasn't. And it was more about being able to link up with these people who were controlling society, and if you wanted to be up and be popular and have all this money and fame, you had to do what they said, and you had to go along with what they said, which means you had to go in and have kids and have sex trafficking, because if you look at the whole Satanism aspect and stuff like that, the negative entities always know that fluid exchange and bloodletting, or any kind of fluid, blood, semen, saliva, anything like that, it's an energy exchange. Like when you have intimate relations with somebody else, you're exchanging your energy between the two partners to become one, okay? The light Wiccans have known this for a long time, but we don't go about it in a negative way. We respect it, okay? We don't use it to our disadvantage. These other elite negative people and entities and paradigms are using I want a quick fix, I want a quick gain, I need to get rich fast. And by able to do that, yes, you can bypass the slow accumulation of that by doing the bloodletting, by doing the sex trafficking, by doing all that and giving your soul to these, it's kind of like Harry Potter when thou that shall not be named, Voldemort, ended up dividing his soul into different, I forgot what they're called, Crohuxes, or whatever those are, Cruxes, I don't know, and basically, you have to go through and find every single one of those and dismantle it until that way it will dissolve the actual entity behind all of this, okay? So, whole cruxes. There we go. That's what I'm thinking of. Whole crux. Thank you. So, basically, this is what's going on right now, I believe. The Galactic Federation has people on the ground, boots on the ground, going out, destroying these whole cruxes. Well, not destroying, rooting them up and cleaning them in the white light of the Holy Spirit, okay? White light of the universe, whatever you want to call it. And purifying it and sending the disembodied energies, the disembodied souls that were trapped by the sex trafficking and all that stuff. Because if you're abused, you know that's part of you that's ripped apart, and you can't get. Phil Good has another video on that too, because he had issues too. So seriously, follow Phil Good. Like, he resonates with me like nobody's business. I'll get some message in, and I'll watch his thing from like the day before, and he's spot on. So that I found interesting too, because I believe that we are definitely from the same seed, same planet type of stuff. So definitely go and see Feel Good. I have one of his videos in here, but if you're on YouTube, definitely go and do. He's on Instagram too, but he's also doing limited stuff. But anyway, so basically they're uprooting these things, and the more that they uproot, the more they're going to find, the more it's going to be flushed out into the media. The media is also played up and all this other stuff. So there's a lot happening, and for somebody who's not, I know, Pamela, it's just a lot of stuff's been going on, and Spirit was telling me to stay low for a while, because a lot of us light workers, this is another side note, a lot of us light workers were being virtually attacked, especially on Facebook and stuff like that, and because that's the platform that they were attacking us on, and then they realized they couldn't do that, and then they decided to make this this whole thing is like, whew. And the other thing too is I'm not one of, my job as a light worker is not necessarily to, each of us, it's kind of like when you're in the Army. You have the Army, you have the Navy, you have the Air Force. Each one has a different part to play. Each one of us light workers have a different part to play. Some are the caller outers. They're going to be like, nope, that's wrong. And they're going to be in your face. And then some are going to be really, really quiet. And they're going to be like, I'm going to stay here until I'm called. That's kind of like where I am. I'm more or less in between. I will say it when I need to. And I will feel the right time. Because the way I go through life is if I don't feel it, I can't project it. Because I can just, right now, like what Phil Good does also, is he says when we speak like this, especially our starseedness, our codes are coming through to you guys who are watching up.